Hello everyone, welcome back to Pamparet. I hope your week is going well as we're slowly approaching the end of winter. We're ready to say bye to February and hello to March, and even though I usually post a flip-through video of my main journal in the last week of every month, today will be a bit different. In my previous video, which by the way, I'm inviting you to watch after this one if you still have some time, I mentioned that I didn't really feel inspired in my Hobonichi journal, and when I looked at it yesterday, I realized I even missed some pages. I guess it felt too much of a task to fill in the blanks, so instead, drawing felt more intuitive for me at that point. With all that, a flip-through wouldn't be the most interesting. Maybe I'll show those pages when I have another month written in, and I can talk about that a bit more in depth, especially because I feel like my low energy and probably not so great mental state these past weeks are correlated with the lack of enjoyment in my journal and thus lack of practice. It's also good to show those not so great pages because they do reflect the reality as well. But yeah, I'm not abandoning my Hobonichi Han. I'm just taking a quick break from it and we'll come back stronger. With that said, I'm almost done with the tiny sketchbook journal that I was keeping for the past month. I think there's only 2 pages left, and it feels so rewarding seeing the end of it. If you're curious in seeing some pages, I scanned almost all of them and included those in my previous video. So you know where to go to find them. If not, that's okay too. But yeah, now that this sketchbook is done, I'm thinking of maybe including that style of journaling into my Hobonichi directly for the month of March. I mean, at that point, I think I'll just keep experimenting. As long as I use my books, it should be fine, right? And so, let's actually talk about this Hobonichi cousin, shall we? I guess this is probably no secret, considering everything I said just now. But it has also been a very long time since I opened my Commonplace book to write. I was really on a roll up until the new year, and after that, it went kind of blank. The good thing with this book though is that there are no dated pages, so it's fine to leave it on the shelf for a bit. It's less noticeable in a way. And I was looking at my cousin for the past weeks too, thinking I should probably give it some more attention. And what better way to do that than by making a new coffee and commonplace video? I believe the last one was in November, which feels so far. And I'm happy to bring back that format. There's something more therapeutic with a commonplace book because the information you write already exists. You just have to make it more clear and legible. And honestly, when feeling stuck, it's the perfect support. You can just turn off your brain and write again. It's also motivating to do certain activities. For instance, here, I'm writing a recipe of a cake I made, and this usually makes me want to get up and bake again, trying out even more new recipes, which then I can put in my commonplace book. A never-ending positive cycle. So yeah, I've been adding pages slowly to this book, and it gives me a bit more of a purpose, which is something I really need at the moment. I like to flip through them and let it reveal the kind of person I am at that point in time, what I was listening to, what hobbies I was pursuing, what interests I had. It might not be the most accurate way of using a quote-unquote commonplace book. I know it is quite a specific term, more for academic research, but I like to think of it more as a personal research. Or I guess it can be what you need it to be, because at the end of the day, you keep your own book to help you in your own life. Anyways, I'll leave you with some more clips and cozy content. Grab your pens, grab your notebooks, and I'll talk to you later in the video. Hello again. Okay, so I felt like it was really time for a big nice update on my Commonplace book in my Hobonichi cousin. I'm not trying to make like X amount of pages per week or per month. This is really free. It's just whenever I feel like it, I just go in my book and write a small article or some thoughts, and I like it that way. There's no pressure. I can just keep going until I guess all the pages run out, which I still have quite a few. I believe last time I showed my Commonplace book, the last page I wrote was this one about picture books and acquisition and all that. And actually, I feel like there's quite a lot to catch up. This was around Thanksgiving time, so it was a bit ago, but I love putting recipes in this book, and so I found this recipe in the Trader Joe's little magazine or journal they have, and I just like wrote it in there in case I was gonna, one day roast a turkey, who knows. And I love also the small decoration they had on their page, so I thought it would be a nice little addition to my book. Yeah, so this page turned out really cute, and I'm all for that, honestly. Moving on to, oh yes, so here is when I hit 1K on YouTube. I actually wanted to write more about this topic and kind of celebrate it a bit more, so that's why I decided to take a page in my Commonplace to also note that accomplishment. Here's more journaling. Sometimes when I feel like I don't have enough space on a page, I like to go to my Commonplace book and just make a whole kind of article about it, just write further, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's something I like to do as well, not just researching and writing about specific topics, but also sometimes just writing my thoughts. And here is about a Christmas playlist, Christmas jazz. If you have Spotify, maybe you have listened to it as well during this winter. I love the ambience. It's just so cozy and soft, which was exactly the mood I'm in every winter. So yeah, that's that. And here is a podcast that I started listening to around December, which is two journalists that I followed already in the past who collab to make their own podcast. So it's pretty new, and it's in French, unfortunately, but for any French speaker, I really recommend it. It's really fun. Here you have seen this page earlier on. I made this cake, this blueberry shortcake, and it was a success, I will say. Not to brag too much, but the end result made me really proud because I'm not like the best cook. I don't bake that often, but that picture says a lot. The cake went out in like maybe 10 minutes. It was gone. Everyone just loved it, and so of course I felt like I needed to save the recipe somewhere, and what a better place than putting it in my Commonplace book. And I like to add fun elements to my page. Putting small drawings here and there just makes it like more fun to look through again, and also I guess more clear in a way. So yeah, this is the recipe. It's actually pretty simple. It's just like making a vanilla sponge cake, and there's plenty of recipes online, and then just some whipped cream, and it's the assembling part that's like maybe a bit more challenging. But yeah, it's so simple, and it looks so fancy. So I definitely recommend, if you are invited to a party or a potluck or anything, making that kind of cake really can make a good impression. Okay, so I guess here was the time for the Spotify Wrapped. Yes, so I decided to write more about it and printed the picture to remember. And yeah, I guess BTS was my number one artist, as well as a lot of French pop artists. And here I just journal a bit more about this variety show that BTS has, and that is really funny. And so because they were like in my top this year, I kind of like started rewatching this show. I guess it all comes together in a sense. And here is more about like language learning, what to be careful of when we pronunciate another language. This page is about The Boy and the Heron. We watched this movie in the theaters with my friends. I guess it was my first time watching a Ghibli movie in the theater, which was definitely a one-of-a-kind experience. It was beautiful, and the story, I mean, it's Miyazaki, so that's kind of what you're expecting when you go watch one of his movies. There were some parts that I wasn't such a fan of, but overall, I mean, it is really, really great quality animation. But yeah, if you haven't gotten the chance to watch it in theaters, I think it's still worth watching it later on. I feel like that's something that I needed to watch. I think it's always nice to write directly what we think the night of or the next day before it kind of slips away. So yeah, that's that. This page is about a new artist that I started listening to, and I love her songs. She's a French artist. Her name's Isut. If you're interested, please check out her album, her songs. It's such a soft and melancholic mood. I really recommend listening to her. This was about values. Just, I guess this is more of a journal kind of article, writing down what I think are my main values in life. I guess it's kind of random, but maybe I was researching about that for a specific thing. I kind of forget now, but I think it's nice to have it written down somewhere, and when you read about it again, you get reminded of, you know, who you are truly at the core. And then here, I actually added a new color because I realized, oh, if I discover a new spot or, a new place that I really enjoy, like a coffee shop, restaurant, or anything, I don't really have a category that it fits into. So I added purple, and this is for like all new places that I discover that I would recommend friends or even like keep for myself, so that, you know, if I'm looking for that similar place again, I could just find it here. This is typically more research. There's no image. It's about a specific visa that allows you to travel and work in different countries. So I was researching about that here, and then writing a little bit about my language learning, kind of all related to this. So yeah, I guess some pages are a bit more simple this way, but it's definitely more about the information that's in there. And then here we're more on like a creative page. This is about a new song that got released this winter and that I kept listening to. I felt like I had to put it in there as well. And so yeah, I'm keeping a lot of music recommendations in this book. I think it's a nice way to just keep kind of also like a memory record. And these pages, I guess you've seen, they're the more recent ones. They're about running. So I started running recently, and what I've been doing, because I'm at a really beginner level, I found this program online that is specifically for beginners. Like how many times you have to repeat that before increasing your running time up until the point where you can run 30 minutes without stopping. So I thought that was super interesting, and I'm gonna try to follow that. So yeah, I've been really liking this. It's fairly simple, and it kind of keeps me on track as well. I think is necessary for that kind of activity. And here, this was more like a journaling entry about running, like the first weeks, kind of how it feels, the kind of research I'm trying to make, because I know a lot of beginners tend to try to do too much all at once, and then you can hurt yourself, like your muscle, your joints. And I think that world is super interesting to research about. So I will definitely do more of that in the future. And for now, it's pretty slow but steady, which is perfect for me. All right, we reached all the pages, and now I will catch up my index in the beginning. Let's see. Oh yes, so yeah, here I have to add a bit more up until this last entry. So let's do that right now.